Hi there, you are listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name is Matt Wakeling and thank you so much for joining me. Now today I'm joined by the Australian guitarist Jason Slack. Jason is the lead guitarist with the Aria Award winning Australian band Superjesus, and he joins us to talk all about the dream run the band is experiencing right now, as well as a deep dive into Jason's luthier skills and the new guitars he is building and taking to festival stages all around Australia. Oh yeah, we talk about the 70s Marshall that he also insists on lugging around the continent. Jason was a great guest and I know you're going to love today's interview. This episode is brought to you by The Pedal Movie, a feature-length film all about effects pedals created by the music gear marketplace Reverb. I am super excited about this film. The Pedal Movie features nearly 100 interviews with people like Steve Vai, Peter Frampton, Jay Mascis, Billy Corgan, and more, including some of our Guitar Speak podcast alumni like Dweezil Zappa, Sarah Lipstate, Johnny Barmer, and Brian Wampler. Reverb's The Pedal Movie is available now on iTunes, Google Play, and Vudu. For more information, visit www.thepedalmovie.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by Joe Elliott. Now, Joe is not only a fantastic guitar player, he draws on his years of experience as the ex-head of guitar at the Guitar Institute of Technology and also at the McNally Smith Music College. Here's a few words from Joe about the course.
If you're tired of wading through hundreds of random guitar videos and just want to become a better player, Fretboard Biology is your answer. Fretboard Biology is a self-paced, college-level program that'll give you the right instruction, in the right amounts, and in the right order. You'll learn the same information I taught to thousands of other guitar players over 30 years of teaching in top music colleges. If you want to make real progress with your guitar playing, then sign up for a free 7-day trial at fretboardbiology.com.
All right, Jason Slack, welcome to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Well, thanks for having me, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. So you and I are both locked down as we record this. It's an interesting time in Australia.
I'm nearly locked down. I'm about 18 hours locked down. What about you?
I can't remember. I'm a few weeks into it now, I think. Yeah, so we're getting there. Okay, cool. Well, Jason, we've got heaps we could talk about. I know you've been getting into the whole craft of building guitars, and there's some really cool stuff you've been posting on your Insta, and also, of course, as a member of Superjesus for a bunch of years now. It'd be great to talk about your career there as well. Let's why don't we start with the guitars? There's a beautiful backstory with your guitar building. So guitar building's relatively new for you, but you've really been jumping in. Take us back to your first guitar though, because there's a really lovely story about that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I had this Court guitar that, I had a guitar and I saved up some money, bought a better guitar, saved up some more money, sold that, bought a better guitar. So as you're growing up, as a teenager.
Yeah.
And went to a meet and greet with Warrant, Cherry Pie back in the day. This is, this 30 years ago. And my guitar got stolen out of my dad's car on Pulteney Street. So I ended up borrowing a few mates' guitars around, and I didn't have much money, So, and my dad was a carpenter, so I just thought, okay, why don't we try and make one? Let's put it together. And he got some. I said, Dad, can you get me some, like, a slab of wood? He got some wood called Nyata wood, which I had no idea about what it was like at the time. Very dense, heavy wood. He said, I think that's kind of like mahogany, and it kind of looks similar, I guess. And yeah, we just sort of started hacking away, and I basically copied my mate's Ibanez, body, and just sort of went at it with various tools that I had.
Wow.
Yeah, it was hard work, but I used that guitar for years, all through university and everything, mate. It survived a long time. I think I retired it when I went to go to do a contract in China. Because I just didn't want to. It had a Floyd Rose on it. I didn't want to deal with that, changing strings and having to deal with the Floyd Rose all the time. So I ended up getting like an Epiphone to the Gibson vibe, on ticket at a shop here, Derringer's, and went to China. So yeah, that's basically how it all got started, from out of necessity, really.
Okay.
At the time.
Yeah, cool. So you say it was
Yeah.
an Ibanez with a Ford, like an RG kind of
Yeah,
vibe?
man. Yeah. Yeah,
Rocking.
the RG, the full blocky one, like like the Steve Vai sort of vibe, I guess, but not no handle in it,
Yeah. Nice,
Yeah.
man. Cool. Do you still have that
Yeah,
guitar?
I've still got it.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I still
cool.
got it somewhere. Yeah, it's got a reverse headstock on it, like Nuno Betancourt as well. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
kind of looks like the M4. I was a massive Nuno fan, like loved Extreme, and I loved what he was doing in that band. It was, he's a gun, isn't he? He's a monster.
Yeah, absolutely. So, wow, that's cool though. That's such a cool thing. And to build it with your dad. So you're how old were you here? Like a teenager?
Yeah, 15 at the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Really, really young. No idea what I was doing. Dad sort of helped me out a bit. I did. I have to admit, the neck was made by Brian West here at Fretco. So yeah, got to give him credit for that. We sort of put it together. But it was my introduction into the whole thing. So I wouldn't really call that my first build, to be honest, because I didn't build it from scratch.
Yep.
My first build, I'd actually say, would be the guitar I built, last year, really, which is the Les Paul Jr. double cutaway that I made. And that's a great guitar. I used that at Spring Loaded Festival a couple of weeks ago in Queensland. It's great. Sounds good. It's got P90s in it. I actually wound the P90s. Sounds really neat.
Wow, man.
It's pretty cool.
So that guitar, I guess we'll jump back to your playing career, I guess. And I guess it'll intersperse this discussion as well. But if we keep on the guitars just for now, man, that DC, it's crazy. Like for your first proper build, like most guys are going to make like a slab body Telecaster or something. This is just a beautifully carved double cutaway, junior-ish kind of vibe, and
it is, isn't it? Yeah,
it's awesome, man.
Oh, look, I'm the type of guy that will go the hardest thing that is available. I'll do that first, and then I'll sort of step backwards, because I think if you can accomplish the real difficult things, you can always do the simple things. So that's just how I've sort of always done things. And I tend to teach myself. I think university was probably the best thing. I think it's the best thing for anyone, really, because it teaches you how to research more than anything.
Sure.
You know that, and so I think if you're sort of armed with that information and you're armed with that sort of arsenal, you can definitely teach yourself anything. And that's really what I did. So I went binding on it. It's got like a sunburst sort of vibe. It's like that some maroon red in black burst into it. Yeah, just went hardcore with it. Did a laminate on the actual heads on the headstock. Yeah, and did some inlays too. I did a little logo which kind of looks like Twisted Sister, but it's JS, and did that inlay on the headstock. And surprisingly it worked out well. If you got patience, I guess you can do that sort of thing.
Wow, it's very cool, man. I love the scratch plate as well. It's like swooping, very cool. It's like an Art Deco thing. Yeah.
Slack. It's like an S for slack, I guess. I don't know. That just sort of it happened on the guitar, that did. So a lot of the sort of the great things that I think are good, sort of ergonomic things that I go, that flows nicely. That kind of works, and that looks kind of ergonomic to me or something. Or it's got a sort of the lines kind of are a bit. It's got I guess a bit of a design factor going on here. If it sort of all sort of flows, then I'm feeling good about that. And that's basically how that scratch plate came about. Just sketching on the actual body, and thought that's actually not bad. That's kind of original,
Nice.
And people loved it. People were like, wow, look at that scratch plate. Love it. I've got dudes who want me to make them one. So I've got a few orders already on that.
Wow.
Sort of, I'm started a new one, so but I've got about 5 guitars on the bill at the moment. So
that's so cool, man. That's great. Hey, tell me about pickups, because that's another area. There's lots of established builders who still won't make their own pickups. They'll be happily putting in aftermarket pickups. Tell me about winding those P90s. That's cool.
Oh yeah, look, it's cool. It's super hard, hey. It's not as easy as you'd think. It's such a delicate project, and just it's like thinner than your hair. And I'm amazed that modern industry has created this wire that's actually got enamel coating that's thinner than your hair, so it doesn't sort of short out. It's amazing, and here I am sort of winding it at speeds. It's kind of incredible. But yeah, at the same token, it snaps so easily. So the one thing that actually made it all successful was I back sort of engineered a Mojo Tone tensioner.
Oh, okay.
So I just had a look at the pictures online and said, okay, I see what's going on here. And I just built myself one. And ever since then, it's been smooth sailing ever since. I can wind and pick up, in 20 minutes. But starting out, I had like a winder. I had a winder for about 10 years, trying to get into it. And I remember successfully winding a few back then when I first had it, but they were so loose, like the wind was loose. And you don't want that because that's sort of, you get microphonics from that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, getting a tensioner is the key if you want to get into winding out there, right? Get the tensioner right, and then you can actually get a tight wind, and it should be very smooth.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
wow,
tough lesson to learn that one. Far out. I've got like a big of what looks like sort of hair. It's like just copper wire. That's just from all the mistakes. But I use that when soldering.
Sure. Is there a lot of
soldering on?
Is there a lot of trial and error too in terms of winding a pickup that you like the sound of, not let alone just getting it to work and not be microphonic?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. And I guess a lot of thinking and a bit of know-how and science, I guess. You've got to understand what's going on. Yep. There's various factors that kind of change the sound. The thickness of the wire, how many winds you've got, how tight the winds are, whether it's, wax potted or not. And the gauge meter, the magnetic strength can actually add to the output. And so, I'm sort of, at the moment, I'm sort of wanting to make a few pickups that are a bit low output but high volumes. What I mean by that is so they're not compressed. How you get a humbucker and it's fully compressed because there's so many winds, right? And so you lose those top end frequencies. I'm trying to do some pickups, some humbuckers that are less winds but high strength magnets, so you can get more output but a cleaner tone, but yet still get that sort of distortion. So super clean, that's what I'm trying to do at the moment.
Yeah, cool.
Experimenting with that.
That sounds awesome. I know. I mean, just in practice for myself, my favorite humbucker is like a PAF Pro, which is fairly moderate output. It's not going to crush everything in its path, so I kind of relate to what you're saying.
So what's that? Is that on a Gibson style guitar? Is it?
That's on a Strat style.
Oh, nice.
So
HSS.
HSS, yeah, yep.
Yeah, nice.
That's been my main gigging kind of thing for a long time. So yeah, I dig that lower output thing that you're talking about too.
It's kind of like all the modern guys are doing it in the prog scene as well, aren't they? You notice there's this real clean distortion and like low sort of distorted sound, but very like what's his name, Tossin the Basti and stuff like that. Their sound is super clean, isn't it? And prog, and I like that because you can hear what's going on. Is nothing's lost. At the same time, I like things like Kaios where it's all sort of dirgy and sort of all sort of fluffy as well. So different courses, different horses.
For sure. Man, tell me what it was like plugging in your double cutaway for the first gig.
Well, for the first gig it was great. I was so chuffed, like plugging it in for the first time, it didn't work, but trial and error once again, just the wiring stuff like that. But yeah. Well, the first official gig was actually I did a Tina Turner show. So I do this sort of Queen show, and the Tina Turner show was sort of added onto it. So I sort of put my hand up to do that as well. Mm-hmm. So I just thought it sort of had P90s. It sort of had that sort of tone. I thought, okay, let's give this a crack. And it was pretty cool. It worked out pretty good. And I kid you not, I went to the I did a rehearsal. We did the sound check, and something wasn't right. Went home, sitting there wiring it up, rewiring it up, getting it right. Went back, plugged it in. Wow, yeah, cool, excellent.
Oh, so good.
And it rocked on.
Nice.
It was good.
Nice. And you used it with Superjesus as well?
Yeah, I did. I used it with the Superjesus at Spring Loaded in Queensland a couple of weeks ago, which is a super cool gig, man. It was so good. We were sort of called in to do that COVID reasons. Mm-hmm. So other bands couldn't get there from Melbourne, I think, or Sydney. Right. I think it was Melbourne. So yeah, we sort of were called in to do that. And it was such a good gig. So we started playing. We weren't supposed to get Pyrotechs, and we're playing in the the festival organisers on the side of the stage watching us, and he sort of grabbed the microphone and said, "Release the pyros!" And then all these pyrotechnics were playing. I'm like, man, like it's like a dream come true, like up there with these shower of sparks there playing away.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Nice. Very cool. Hey, I also saw on your Insta, for our listeners, you've got to follow Jason on Instagram because he's got heaps of cool shots of these guitars he's building and the gigs and stuff. But the second one is more of a very modern, funky kind of super strat thing going on. What's the vibe there?
Yeah, I'd call that more of a jazz master sort of influence, a Jaguar.
Okay.
So the body is basically shaped off of that. Yeah, it's a bit stretchy though, isn't it? Yeah, it's got I wound those pickups as well, and I experimented with that single coil. So what happened is, like, one of my favourite clean pickups was the neck pickup on my Telecaster. It just sounded like chorus without having a chorus on it. One of these rare sort of things, and it's sort of stuffed up. And I was analysing it and having a look at it, and the wire basically snapped, somewhere there, right? And I realised that what they did is they actually put that cover, the metal cover, in the circuit, so it's part of the ground. And I had no idea. I just thought it was just plopped on top just for whatever reasons, but it's part of the circuit. So yeah, I've been experimenting with a bit of that sort of vibe as well, because that sort of opens up the way that the magnets, the string reacts to the magnet. It sort of makes it more of a larger field
Sure.
where it can receive tone, doesn't it? So yeah, I sort of tried a couple of things with copper on the top and the bottom of the actual pickup, and it, in all honesty, it hasn't really worked out too well, so I have to go back to the drawing board with it. But yeah, still sort of stuffing around with that one. But yeah, I really like the guitar. I've got a Super V on it, one of those trams. You ever tried one of them?
No, I haven't. No, they look awesome, but how's that going for you?
Yeah, because they got that sort of that metal on it, where it's sort of, and the whole bridge is sort of screwed into the guitar body. So the sustain has got to be 10 times better, hasn't it? Because most trims is sort of pivoting on one of those on the screws there. So that's your only point of contact from the strings and the nut, and that's it, really, isn't it? And theoretically it's a brilliant idea, and I just like good idea.
Very cool. You said you've got a few more guitars in the works. What's on the bench, or what are you dreaming up next?
Okay, so there's a couple at the moment. What am I doing? I'm doing another DC cutaway, so pretty much the same. That's for a mate who wants it. But I'm just going to make it and then go, look, here it is. Do you want it or not? He sort of said he wants it anyway. And what else am I doing? I'm doing another one of those, like that Shark sort of guitar, that sort of Jazz Master Jaguar guitar. Yeah. Another one of them, and I'm doing a left-handed one for a friend, and I'm making a Jet Age theme guitar as well.
Oh,
so
nice.
Which is basically loosed on a PRS, and so that's what I'm hammering out right now, because I'm going to use it on the next tour, and it's looking mighty slick at the moment. I sort of borrowed the idea of the bird inlays on the PRS and put Concords in place of that, and it looks dynamite, man. It's like, and I did it with aluminium. I saw this guy in Amsterdam do some inlays with aluminium. I thought, that's a bloody good idea, isn't it? And it cuts really easily.
Okay.
So yeah, I've managed to pull it off really, really well.
Nice.
I've got it here. I'll show you. I know people out there can't see, but you can see this.
Still.
So you can see those Concords there.
Oh, that's so good.
Really tall fret there, so there's a head on.
It's taking off. I love it, man.
It's great.
I love it,
man. So, and the headstock sort of has roughly a PRS, but it's sort of going to taper off there like the head of a Concorde.
Yeah. That's really cool, man. And for the Jet Age tour, perfect.
Yeah. It was an idea that sort of a long time ago, and I bought some paint with the colours of the album cover in preparation to try to do this, and everyone's like, "Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea." So yeah, we're going to play it on the tour, and I'm going to auction it off actually at the end of the tour, so anyone can buy it. And the idea is to donate some of the proceeds to beanies for brain cancer. So yeah,
Cool, man. That's awesome. That's really cool.
yeah,
Man, I can't
yes, you're right.
can't wait to see how that turns out. That's really great.
Yeah, me too. You and me both.
So when's the tour? Is it October or something?
Yeah, we're starting at late September now. So we're doing a Western Australia run that was added
cool.
at the end of September, and then all the way through October all around the country.
Great, man.
Yeah, it's really excited to do it, and hopefully COVID committing it goes ahead. It's just this thing has just sort of really put a dampening on the Australian music industry.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we we're talking about at the top, it was a really optimistic start to 2021 in terms of musicians getting out there.
Wasn't it?
So yeah, fingers crossed. Hey, I spoke to I had Sarah McLeod on the show. It might have been 2018 when she was doing some solo stuff, and
Yeah.
she had just MacGyvered her guitar with the bass pickup outputs. I don't know if you've swapped stories
Yeah.
about that. There's another mad professor in the
Yeah,
Superjesus.
it was a brilliant idea. I was super impressed with her ingenuity of that one. I mean, I like that sort of idea. I think like guys like Royal Blood and that, they've got like their bass tone,
Yeah.
which is fully fat. And I think he sort of spreads it out to a couple of amps and, to get that guitar amps, get that sort of guitar-y sound as well as the bass sound. I kind of admire guys that do that kind of stuff. It's, Jack White and all that sort of stuff, the White Stripes.
Yeah.
Oh, a good vibe, isn't it? And there's that, what's those, the Kings of the North, the Australian guys that did it as well.
Oh, yeah.
King of the North, was it? I think.
Maybe
Like
the name's escaping me, but
Yeah,
I know who you mean. Yeah,
no, Danny Leo was in the band. I remember that.
cool. Yeah, it's a good vibe. Yeah. I hope you are enjoying today's interview. Now, this podcast is brought to you by The Pedal Movie, a feature-length film all about effects pedals created by the music gear marketplace Reverb. Now, we love guitar pedals here on the Guitar Speak podcast, and we're super excited on the release of this film. The Pedal Movie explores how effects pedals and their builders have shaped modern music and guitar playing over time, from the fuzz pedal experiments of the Rolling Stones and Jimi Hendrix through the shoegaze and indie rock of the 90s and up to the modern day use of effects. Reverb also speaks with builders and leaders from more than 50 pedal brands to answer the big question, how did guitar pedals get so big? Reverb's The Pedal Movie is available now on iTunes, Google Play and Vudu. For more info, check out thepedalmovie.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by master guitar teacher Joe Elliott. Now, I was a beta tester for the course, and as a music educator myself, I was very impressed by the logical layout and format of the course. Heavyweight guitarists such as Brett Garsed and Greg Koch have also endorsed the program, so check it out at www.fretboardbiology.com. Okay, back to our interview. Well, talking about the Superjesus, tell me about your stints in the band, because you've been on board since 2015, but you also spent a few years in the early 2000s.
Yeah, well, I started with the band, in about 2003, I think it was.
Okay.
Around that time. I just finished a contract in, where was I? I think I was in Korea.
Okay.
And I actually had a friend of mine come and sort of play bass with the band I was in, and he was good friends with Paul Berryman. He was actually best friends with Paul Berryman, and he sort of heard me writing songs in Korea, and so I think it was like in the year of Paul, and then Paul, when I got back to Adelaide, I mean, I knew Paul from the scene earlier in in my teens. Yeah, so he contacted me and said, Jay, you going to the big day out? I said, nah. I said, well, I've got tickets for you, so come on the big day out, and we want to have a chat to you. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, I went there, hung out. They said, we want to join the band, mate. I said, all right, really, just like that? I said, yeah. But
awesome.
Yeah, they did put me through 2 days of auditions, but they also sent me to Chris Tennant, and that was pretty much the point where I got in.
Right.
So they sort of ran me through my paces anyway.
Yeah.
But when I went and saw Chris Chris told them, yeah, get this guy. He knows what he's doing. So yeah, I did 2 days of auditions. Biting my nails, going, "Have I got the gig? Have I got the gig? What's going on?" They said, "Yeah, you got the gig." So that was an amazing moment in my life, I guess. Coming from touring Asia for 5 years and then bang into a Aria Award winning band in Australia. It was like a dream come true, I guess.
Yeah, wow.
Very exciting stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
So that went on for quite a few years. We toured around the country. We did the rock music. I toured the rock music album. I didn't play on the album, but that was a super fun tour. And it just felt like it went on for months. I think it did actually. It went on for about 3 or 5 months or something. It was all around the country, and we went from like Esperance right up to Broome, right down Western Australia, just basically bar to bar to bar to bar to bar, all the way up, old school style. It was so much fun. Yeah. And then, so then the band sort of dismembered later. So I can't remember how many years I did with them at that point. They sort of got back together with Tim, and then that didn't work out. And then they sort of rang me up and said, do you want to come back in the band? I said, yeah, let's do it.
Nice. And you've been on board
So
ever
that was
since?
2000. Yeah, I've been in trouble with them ever since. Yeah.
Very cool, man. It seems like a great time for the band because there's been some big anniversaries of some of the earlier albums, and I think in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, such a resurgence in, for want of a better word, 90s bands or bands that launched in the 90s. There's still such a huge audience, and like I said, the festivals we saw kicking back in earlier this year, have been awesome, man. It looks like it's such a good time to be rocking out with Superjesus.
Yeah, man, you're right on it. There is a resurgence. And I just feel fortunate and lucky to be in a band that's able to tour like this, because when you're on this festival circuit and you're looking around, there aren't any new bands that are sort of coming up under the scene and going popping up their head and go, yeah, we're in the scene, we're rocking. It just seems like it's just not there. Like the industry's not really nurturing the new talent in a way. I don't know why that is. What's going on? I don't know what the problem is. I think it's to do with new media, all the social media and all that sort of stuff. Sort of stamps people out for some reason. I don't know. But I feel very, very lucky to be in a band that's still doing it, and we're doing cracking gigs. I mean, the last 6 years, the band's been on fire. Ever since that sumo run, we did, like, me and the boys just locked away for 3 months, and we just like jammed. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
It's just good to work like that, And we came out of the gates firing, like full throttle. It was really, really good, and great reviews for that tour. We ended up having, recording the album for that sumo live album because we were just so hot at the time.
Yeah.
I don't say so myself.
That's great. And so, was that effectively your first album with the band?
Yeah. It would. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Nice.
It actually is. Yeah.
Oh, cool, man! After all your years on board, it's good to. Must have been cool to be on record.
Yeah, it feels like I've got my stamp in rock and roll history now.
Nice.
Even though I kind of was there before, but that sideline guy. But now it's he's in it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Rock and roll is a weird world.
Now, like we said, you got a big tour coming up. Is there any writing going on in the band?
I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
We all seem to write individually, I guess. There's always things in the works. It's a bit of a hard band to sort of get things moving in that way because we are sort of separated by states,
Sure.
But the boys we're keen to sort of get something started. There's always things in the pipeline. There's always riffs going on and all little jammy things like that when we sort of get together rehearsal. We're actually going to start rehearsing soon for this next tour. So we were going to start this week, but the lockdown sort of kicked off. So
sure.
We're starting next week. So that's a good couple of weeks to get things happening.
Yeah, nice.
And maybe jam out some riffs and see how it goes. I'm keen to write an album, man. I'm keen to do it, and I know Stuart is as well.
Yeah.
So we just got to, and so is Trav. Trav's always keen. He's a good fella. And I'm sure Cloud is. She's just a busy bee, like running around doing so many things.
Everywhere. Yes.
Yeah, oh, good on her, It's just hard to lock her down, I think.
Sure.
But we'll get there. We'll get
Yeah,
there.
cool.
Something will happen soon. I reckon something will happen out of this tour. The vibe's getting better, between us. And, we're generally all pretty good friends. So I'm sure that the tour will just, solidify that and unite us on a good front. Because I reckon I've got a good feeling about this tour. It should be good.
Yeah, very cool. Now, when you're touring Superjesus stuff, what are you taking out gear-wise? So I know the plan is to have your own guitar, of course, the Jet Age Axe, but what are you
Yep.
taking out?
I am pretty adamant about taking my JMP amp all the time.
Okay, yep.
And I think it's just because it's modified. I've got and it's part of the sound of the Superjesus as far as I'm concerned. And it's a great sounding amp. It's just super cool, and it's fully modified. So it just fits to my sound. So I've got another sort of preamp put inside it, or not. It's actually another power amp that's actually put inside it. So there's another gain state. Well, it's actually like another channel. So It's actually got a dB volume boost, which is kind of unique for a JMP from 1975.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah. So I was at the point where I either got a new amp that had more features, or I modified this amp that I absolutely loved. Because the guy that modifies my amp for me here, Frank at FM Audio, he's always against it. No, man, don't do it, mate. You want it original. Trust me, you want it original. I said, look, if I keep it original, I won't use it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I need these extra things. He goes, all right. So he was quite good at not damaging any of the inputs and not drilling any new holes. He was quite smart about it.
Okay.
So all the volumes and all the pots are actually in. You know how they've got the 4 inputs.
Yep.
They're not all inputs anymore. There's only 2 inputs, and 2 of those are in volumes now. So
nice.
he sort of utilised that space and said, look, it's basically at the point where if you need to, we can put it all back to original. Said, oh, that's good, man. Thanks, well done.
That's awesome.
It's good like that.
Very...
Yeah, he's actually the guy that got me the amp when I first got the gig, believe it or not.
Okay.
All those years ago.
Yeah. Great.
He said, I've got this old amp, old JMP. He said, needs a good service, but yeah, you can have it. I said, oh, yeah, I'll definitely want it. And yeah, it's been such a good amp. So I use that. And I've got an Eventide that I use for nice, to clean reverbs and, little effects and things. I use a sub and up. And one of the things that I use that's quite noticeable is the Small Stone Nano, which I use when we play that Confide in Me.
Yep. There's
a part in the song where I sort of stop, and it's just got that flange that just keeps on going and going and going and going, and it creates this moment of intensity. And McLeod gets in her little brooding kind of character, and it's really kind of a unique little moment. And that's that Small Stone. It's just it's just really cool. So that comes to me. My board comes to me, and I've got also the Hot Cake, which is
nice.
Synonymous with early Superjesus recordings. McLeod's got a Hot Cake as well.
Okay.
It's a New Zealand pedal that's quite expensive.
Yeah.
Have you heard of those?
Yeah, is it Paul Crowther? Is that the?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Yeah. But the original Split Ends drummer, I think, is the guy behind the Hot Cakes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Man, classic pedal. That's great, man. Nice. Man, I love it that you're still lugging an amp. So many touring acts have gone digital because it's consistent and it works. But I like that you're lugging your Marshall. How does that go on luggage? You must have pretty sturdy road case.
Right there. It's basically 31 kilos with the case.
Yeah.
So obviously I hire quad boxes and stuff, but 31 kilos is your limit, and it's bang on.
Right.
So and I don't, and it's quite heavy, but all you have to do is lug it 2 or 3 times, and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's so worth bringing along.
Nice.
It's just part of our sound. But you're right. I don't know. I'm just really, just cautious about going into that digital world. I just find sometimes, I've played around with loads of things, loads of plugins and stuff, and in my recordings and stuff. But I just find sometimes you're not really sure about the chain. You're not really sure about the gain stage. There's always little things that sort of seem to interrupt what's going on. I like the fact that my gain stage is direct. I know where the sound's going. I know how it's all connected to the amp. And when you get these modelling things, like I remember using the CMOS for the old Boss thing, and they had like these modelling things in there So you'd have a modeling sound, and then that would go to your amp, and then you'd be distorting on top of the modeling sound. And sort of it just become too much for me. Like, you know,
Sure.
you're sort of overloading, and nothing's really quite clear. I know things are getting better with the Axe effects and all that kind of stuff, but still reluctant to go there.
Nice, man. What about what guitars?
Yeah, hopefully the new guitar will come along. And I'm not sure about the second one, mate. I've been rocking out a Paul Reed Smith lately, which is really kind of cool, the DGT.
Oh yeah.
And it's got the split on it. And the clean sound is kind of stratty.
Okay.
Which I like, you know, on the neck. The Sumo 20 run, I was basically taking out like a David Gilmour style Fender. And I had my Gibson. I got two Gibson Les Pauls. One's a gold top, which I used for years.
Mm-hmm.
That was my girl. That was my go-to guitar for so long. But I sort of retired that a bit because I got a nice traditional Gibson, quite cheap, from some guy who needed to play his council rates. So I swapped over the pickups. So I grabbed that. It had like the 57s in there, the old PAFs in there,
mm-hmm.
and it just wasn't right for me. I didn't like that sound, so I swapped all the pickups from the Gibson, the gold top, and put it into that one, and I love it. And I actually got a bare knuckle in the a P90 bare knuckle in the neck, which is actually pretty nice as well. So yeah, I don't know yet. I usually take two guitars though, one for drop C and one for, you know, the standard drop D.
Yep.
Yeah, so hopefully it will be it will be the Jet Age Zen guitar, and then whatever else is going to fit the sound at the time, I guess, because
sure.
You know, the album's a bit different, so I'm going to be trying to sound match a few things, I guess, or sort of get that sort of vibe. It's a bit different from Sumo, so
yeah, sure.
I'm going to take a different approach, I guess, and we'll jam it out and see how it sounds out in the end.
Great, man. Sounds like a good plan.
It's good to have choices, isn't it?
Yeah. if that's your biggest problem, which guitars will I take? From what you've just told us, yeah, you got a pretty good time on your hands working out which ones.
Yeah, I do. So yeah, I'm just not sure, mate. I can't tell a lie. I'm just not sure yet. I'm just looking at my guitars now. Which ones?
Yeah. That's great, man. Hey, man, it's been so fun talking to you about all this stuff. Outside of Superjesus, and before we go, outside of Superjesus and obviously your guitar building, is there any other musical projects you squeeze in? You doing any of your own stuff or?
Look, I used to do. I actually contacted the bass player of my old band Hawkeye the other day, funnily enough, because I was listening to some Motor Race. I just love that band.
Yeah.
I've actually become friends with Dave Ong from Motor Race.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, on the Hotter in Hell tour, we sort of ended up playing together, and he sort of dug more playing. And it's like, yeah, it'd be great to jam. It's like, yeah, we're in different states. But anyway, let's be friends. So yeah, I don't know. I'd like to. Yeah, I was thinking about doing another sort of proggy sort of project, maybe. I don't know. I'm in a real creative stage at this stage of my life, so
nice.
You know, I've got plenty of time, and I'm just knocking things out really fast. So I'm not sure. I don't have any real sort of original projects going at the moment, but I feel the inspiration is in my belly, and I need to write, and I need to produce, I need to create. You know, like that's why I'm making guitars and stuff, because I just need to keep creating. It's kind of my thing, and I don't watch TV, so. You know, I'm constantly just doing stuff, which is kind of, you know, it feels really good. Yeah. So I don't know yet, mate. Yeah, have to keep your ears out.
Yeah.
There
Watch
might
this
be
space.
What's Yeah, I was working on this project with this other guy, but he sort of cut me out of it really, really abruptly, kind of bizarrely. He sort of went, "Oh, it's mixed now. It's not done." So okay, no worries. So yeah. See what else is on the cards in the future.
Yeah,
I'm open to create. I really want to work with another good drummer. Yeah, who knows, man? I've got so many ideas on the top of my head. Who knows?
Nice. What's the best way for people to keep up to date with all the stuff you're doing? Well,
with my stuff, I guess the Instagram, Jason Slack Instagram, as Jason_Slack. Instagram, and I've got a photography site as well, Jason Slack Photography. Check that out. I'm actually wanting to do an exhibition pretty soon.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm also just become a beekeeper, believe it or not, which is kind of interesting. I can't wait to get stuck into that. I've got a hive waiting for me, but I have to move it somewhere else before I can move it to my house. So,
Okay.
and just I guess you can keep an eye on the Superjesus website. That's the best way to sort of handball over to my sort of stuff. I'm hoping to start a website for my guitars because I'm actually want to start selling them. So, JBS Guitars would be the name of the actual company. So see how that goes as well.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. Man, well, you are a super creative dude, and it's been awesome talking to you, Jason. So thank you so much for joining us on the Guitar Speak podcast.
Thank you very much, mate. It's been a pleasure.
All right, there you go. Hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Now, this podcast was brought to you by The Pedal Movie, the feature-length film all about effects pedals, created by Reverb. Reverb's The Pedal Movie is available now on iTunes, Google Play, and Vudu. For more information, visit thepedalmovie.com. The show was also brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by ex-head of guitar at GIT, Joe Elliott. Check out fretboardbiology.com for more information. Alrighty then, you have been listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name is Matt Wakeling, and as the legendary German rocker Michael Schenker once told me,
keep rocking, keep on rocking.
Keep on rocking indeed. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you next time. Bye now.